Luckily, he prevailed in court, and luckily, he's back with us now. Mark, good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon.
Mark, thank you for doing this. I wonder what your reaction is to this news. We see now three pro-life activists were a part of protesting outside of an abortion mill in Washington, D.C. last October, and they were just prosecuted by the Biden administration, U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves in the District of Columbia. And now they are looking at upwards of 11 years in prison each, including two grandmothers, a 74-year-old named Joan Bell and a 73-year-old named Jean Marshall. What's happening here, do you think?
Well, sure. Look, I've known Joan for years, and Joan is a warrior, and she's no stranger to being persecuted for the pro-life cause, and I've done great work with her. So I don't think she's surprised. What we're dealing with here is bad law with this FACE Act, Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances, which was established in 1994, and it has no application to pro-lifers on the sidewalk. They tried to use it against me,
Right.
and of course it was not successful. But as far as the terms of what happened with Joan and the other people, we could talk about that. But it's definitely bad law, and it's not something that everyday citizens are going to positively benefit from. Because basically, in my trial, the judge said it's being spread way too thin, and its original intent was not what the application of it is today. And so the judge even chastised the DOJ and said, go back to D.C. and fix this law. So we need to repeal the FACE Act, and sadly, though, until that happens, we're going to have more persecutions like this.
It's amazing. And meanwhile, U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves in D.C., last year he turned down prosecutions for 77% of all arrests. So that includes, just local street crimes, just not prosecuting them at all. And here he is trying to destroy the lives of elderly women. Why is that?
Well, look, no one is immune, and age is not even a factor here. I mean, we've had the gentleman raided in Utah who was 74 years of age, shot dead on his doorstep by the FBI. It doesn't matter if you speak out against the state. If you're a pro-lifer, if you're a devout Christian, or any person of faith, you're an enemy and target of the state. I've been saying this all along, and certainly age has no barrier here.
So how has your perspective changed over these last 2-3 years with regards to our justice system, if at all? Did you always think that it was two tiers of justice, or did your views on this change in your experience?
Well, look, during the Trump administration, we had no concern of this. No, it was unthinkable. In fact, it's been unthinkable in most of our time and my time in this world. But with the Biden administration, it's a whole other ball game. And as you said, two-tiered system of justice. He's basically declared that he's going to come after pro-lifers, those that stand against his administration's policy. And so, no, the last 2 years has just told me that, what I thought would happen is coming to fruition, which is basically, that being an activist and being someone who stands for traditional family values and pro-life is going to make you a target. And certainly, what I believe would happen has certainly come true for me. So we need to stand up and be counted for. We must be willing to sacrifice. We must be first-century Christians in the 21st century.
Yeah, and you're bearing your cross here by standing up for what's right. Mark, you have decided to run for Congress now. The district is Pennsylvania's first. You are in a primary against the current incumbent Republican, Brian Fitzpatrick. Tell us why you decided to jump into this race.
Sure. Well, it was much prayer for sure, and it wasn't something I initially wanted to do, but many people have encouraged me to do it. And after hearing all those requests, I recognize that, perhaps for such a time as this, I have been called, and the Republic is falling apart. And so we need to do our part. We have a duty to do our part as American citizens. And I made a decision at the end of July that we would go to this race and fight for the first district of Pennsylvania, and that we would be willing to sacrifice whatever we need to sacrifice to go to Capitol Hill and bring integrity back to our nation's capital, and bring traditional family values, American values back to the Congress. And frankly, it's something that we feel called to do, as I said. And I want to protect people from what happened to me. And so the current administration cannot run from my narrative. I think when President Biden heard that I was running, he spit out his coffee. So, they're not happy about it. But, we have to do it, and everyone else has to do it that wants to save this republic.
Your opponent, Brian Fitzpatrick, has been in the news lately as someone who says he doesn't really want to get into the impeachment of Joe Biden. He said he's according to NBC, he doesn't want to rush into impeachment. Have you seen enough, do you think, that to justify an impeachment inquiry or an impeachment vote in your view?
Well, you got to know this about Congressman Fitzpatrick, who I voted for the last 3 terms. He's the only congressman that was a former FBI agent, and he spent his time before he took this seat back after his brother passed away. He spent his time in Ukraine. And so Brian has firsthand knowledge of what was going on in Ukraine back in 2015 and prior to. So he has some inside information. I don't know what that is, but I know that's where he spent most of his time. And he's on the committee for that proxy war at this point. So I can see why he would say that. He votes like a Democrat. That's one of the reasons why we're running. So I would certainly not be someone who would be opposed to the impeachment process.
Yeah, because look at what you experienced. Like that alone strikes me as a good justification for why Joe Biden should not be wielding all of this power over the country.
Surely. Oh, no doubt. Look, time has come, and it's time for people to recognize that they have a role. And if you're not going to speak up, if you're not going to do anything about it, then don't complain. And I can't look my children in the eye every day and complain about the republic if I'm not going to do something about it. So we have this opportunity, and every American citizen has an opportunity come election, primary coming up in April for us here in PA, and of course this upcoming general election, to change all these things.
Yep.
And so I think there'll be a lot of change this coming cycle.
Do you and this is like an impossible question to answer in any other way, but I'm going to try my best. Do you think you'll win this race? I know what the answer is. Yes, everyone says yes.
Sure.
But what is the answer in your view?
Look, I'm not a politician, right? I don't follow politics. I never did. Of course, I'm a pro-lifer. I'm a zealot when it comes to my faith, and I'm a ministry guy. That's what I do.
Sure.
But so to be able to to position this where I know exactly what's going to happen, I didn't even think I'd be running. So, and the government has a 98% conviction rate when they come after you. So the odds don't scare me. I had a 2% chance of being acquitted, and certainly we were. And so Brian has successfully fended off a lot of challengers in the past, and he beat them significantly. So the pundits would say, like, you got no chance. But the reality is I'm an anomaly. My story is an anomaly, and I'm a name. I'm in Governor DeSantis's latest campaign ad. My face, my voice, and my message.
Yes.
So Brian's never faced anybody in the first district who's got that kind of attention. So I think our chances are great. I'd like to say that we're going to win. But you know what? I don't know. Look, I really don't know. But I wouldn't be in it if we didn't think we could win it.
Amen. Well, I respect that answer a great deal. Mark Houck, thank you very much. Really appreciate you joining us, and best of luck during this campaign, sir.